Hi guys, it's me Kaika, and this is my voice 5 weeks on testosterone. So this week was pretty chill. I feel like I'm settling into the changes, um, like the high sex drive, the extra energy. I'm on melatonin now, and that's helping me sleep. Really good. I want to talk about gender labels. Um, because it's starting to not bother me but concern me. um I'm noticing in the trans community how people are really attached to these labels to the point where um we're hurting each other. So I don't want to get too deep into the controversy, so I'm not even going to mention it. All I'm going to say is that for me, myself, I'm 36 years old, and I didn't know I was trans. Like, I had ideas, and I did deal with dysphoria um, when I was younger, and because I'm on the medicine path, I was forced to conquer my dysphoria before hormone therapy became an option for me, before I even had the luxury of considering if I was trans. In my day, it was hard enough to be a lesbian coming from a Christian family, and all of the activism I did back then, that like and even when I was like in activism, there were transgender people who would use the masculine pronoun. And I remember my pastor, I was a minister in a gay church, right? And my pastor would be confused, like, because he would be like, hey, you know what, like, what's your gender, what's your pronoun? And I would be like, oh, it's she, I'm a lesbian, I'm a stud, like, because I couldn't even think about being transgender yet. Like, it was hard enough just being a Christian lesbian. And the trans people, mostly trans women, they were like, that's a he right there. And so the pastor finally listened to the trans people, and he started um, referring to me as he. And anyways, so I'm, again, 36 years old. It took me a really long time to accept my body and accept that I was born into a female body, and this was my body. And I know that I'm also non-binary, so I'm not making a statement about like what transgender people need to do, because like you can't tell someone who has gender dysphoria to just get over gender dysphoria. Again, like, I love my T-shots. But because I had to conquer dysphoria before hormone therapy, I questioned whether or not I was trans, because there's this rule that, here's the controversial thing, you have to have dysphoria in order to be trans. So I thought, I'm not trans because I don't have dysphoria anymore. But what I had was a knowledge of how to tolerate my female body, and I appreciated my female body, and I learned to like give love to my female body. But it wasn't until I started T that I actually started to really love my body, and I had no idea what that meant, because it was like I hated my body and I appreciate my body. Oh, this must be love. So pre-T, I went around saying, oh, I love my body, I must not be trans. But now that I'm on T, it's like, holy fucking shit, this is awesome. Like, this is it, man. Anyways, again, I am two-spirit, so it was possible for me to conquer dysphoria. I'm not saying that all trans people have to do that. This is just my path. I don't know that gender dysphoria can be conquered without testosterone or hormones. But I don't know that it can't be. What I am saying is that people have different paths, and people questioning gender, like, it's so hard questioning your gender and questioning who you are, and finding a community that welcomes you, and then you come into the trans community and people say, oh no, you don't belong here because you don't have dysphoria. And whether or not that person's really trans, like, that's really hard. Like, it's really fucking hard to finally find a community. And if there's no community, what, you know, like, there are a lot of people who struggle with suicide because they're being rejected by their family and their parents and their friends and their church and, you know, even spiritual communities. And if we can't be welcoming and loving to people who are questioning their gender, then I don't know, I just feel like that's sad. I'm not, you know, I'm not saying that anyone has to change. I'm just pointing something out, like having a definition, what it means to be trans, and having a rule on what it, like, I don't know, like, I was hurt. I know that. I was hurt when I saw that. You can't, if you don't have dysphoria, you're not trans. Because I thought, oh shit, I'm not trans. And I almost didn't fucking start hormone therapy because of this rule. So anyways, I'm gonna move on. That was bothering me. I know that for me, I'm more than trans. I'm more than non-binary. I'm more than two-spirit. These are just labels, you know. I'm more than my body. I'm more than my gender. I'm more than, like, what I do. Okay, I'm really done. The other thing I wanted to talk about is sexual orientation. One of the things that was holding me back from hormone therapy is fear that I would become a gay man. And mostly I was afraid because of all the feminine energy that I had. Like, again, I'm two-spirit, so half of me, like, I feel like I'm half-half, like almost in the middle. But in this life, choosing to express in the masculine, that fits me because of, I don't know, like, I try not to get too deep here. But what was I saying? I was afraid of being a gay man. I was afraid that the hormones might make me gay because I was so feminine, and there was sexual attraction toward men when I was in my early 20s. I was promiscuous and I slept with men. But for one, when I was young and I was attracted to men in a sexual way, it was more about looking for medicine and sexual healing, and I wasn't getting that at all. I hurt a lot of guys because I didn't care, and I just wanted to play with them. You know, the men were toys to me, boys were toys. I called them my boy toy, you know, like, here's my boy toy, never my boyfriend. And I'm not really proud of this, but I'm laughing at myself because I was so ridiculous. And I eventually hurt someone that I cared about, and I decided to stop sleeping with guys because it was all just a game to me. And so because I used to sleep with guys, I was like, oh no, I'm gonna be gay. And what has happened, so before pre-T, as a two-spirit person, I was like, okay, so my feminine is a lesbian and the masculine is a straight man, so there's no label that fits me, right? Like, I'm not a lesbian and I'm not straight and I'm not bisexual and I'm not pansexual. Fuck, man, I'm queer. That's just it. I gotta be queer. But now things have changed a little bit because of my gender, because I sat and I asked myself, like, oh my god, like, I'm laughing because it's funny. I asked myself, who's going to love me? You know, I'm a really short trans guy with a vagina, you know, like, it's hard being short, even as a lesbian. Like, that's and that's probably my most insecure thing, is my height. I'm so short. I'm not even gonna tell you guys how short I am. But yeah, like, who's gonna love me? You know, I'm trans, and that sounds ridiculous, but it was like a real fear. And so moving into that space and telling myself, well, how can I how can I ask a straight woman to see past my prosthetic penis? How do I ask a lesbian to see past my body odor and rough skin? And then I contemplating and like, wait, but that's not, love is not about the physical body, you know. There's relationship standards, right? There's what I'm looking for in a relationship, and then there's love. When you fall in love with someone, nothing matters. How they look doesn't matter, how much they earn doesn't matter, what they do doesn't matter, where they live doesn't matter. It doesn't fucking matter, because love transcends all of it. So I had to move into that place where it's like, well, if I'm asking for that kind of love, then I have to be willing to give it. And I'm really opening up, because I want to be loved, right? I want to be loved for who I am. I want to know that the person I love is going to love me no matter what. And so moving into that space and realizing that, one, I've never been in love with a man before, ever. So I've never actually rejected someone based on love. I've loved, there was one man in my life who I loved intimately and I had sex with, but I have never been in love. And so that makes me feel like I probably will never be in love with a man again. I'm 36 years old, but hey, love transcends all. And so now I feel like I'm in that pansexual place where gender doesn't matter. Why should gender matter if it's love? But I do have a preference. The preference is still the same. Like, I'm looking at the entire spectrum, and I think this is where the term pan comes from, because in film, like, the camera pans, right? So I'm panning across the entire spectrum, and I'm seeing that my preference is still cis women, right? And then, like, from cis women to trans men, and then all of the non-binary, and then cis men over here. So, like, I still prefer cis women. My most favorite, and my least favorite would be cis men. But I'm definitely in the pan region now, and I'm proud to say that. I feel like I've evolved past the limitations of gender, and it's kind of beautiful, because this is the kind of love that I want, so I have to be willing to give it. Yeah. Anyways, let's see if there's anything else. My voice, I love it. Look at my shirt, like I'm actually fitting into this shirt. Normally this would be hanging over the sides, and this, you would be able to see my wife beater. This shirt, you would be able to see my wife beater, because it would be hanging down low down here, but my shoulders are filling in, and I'm still look like a pretty skinny guy, you know, but I'm definitely filling into my shirts, and it feels really good. I feel like my little mustache, I had this since I was 13. I'm gonna go close up. See? I don't know if you can see it. I almost kissed you guys. Yeah, I'm about to shave this and see if it comes back thicker. I don't know. I think that's all I got, honestly. Oh, maybe I should save that for next, because I'm already on 14 minutes. I love you guys. Check this out. Oh shit.